When you're engaging with your elevator pitch, that is very, very important. Let me stop it here for a little bit for questions. We've talked a little bit about networking, obviously. We'll get to the number one mistake in a second. Anybody have any questions on some of the questions or points that we've brought up thus far? Yeah, Winston.
Brian, just in the scenario that the guy that came over and wanted to hand out his card.
Yeah.
Could he have done better by actually saying, okay, I hate to interrupt, I'm pressed for time.
Right.
I like to, hit you
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Winston asked, is there a better way that the guy who came up to me, is there a better way that he could have handled that? Okay. It wasn't an issue in my mind of interrupting because we were standing off to the side, so actually that wasn't the issue, but that's a great point. It wasn't that. It was just the way I would have handled it, okay, would have been, hey, listen, I heard you guys talk. I couldn't help but overhear you guys talking a little bit about your business. It sounds like you're doing this XYZ. What is that all about, if you don't mind me asking? Right? You have to lead with a question. So he leads with this question, talks a little bit. He says, well, I'll tell you what, one of the things that I do a lot of, and I know we don't have a lot of time here, but one of the things that I do a lot of is art design and graphics. I don't know if you're ever in the market for that, if you know people who might be in the market for that, but I was hoping I could give you my card, and maybe if you'd like, we can reconnect afterwards and have some coffee. See, in my mind, that's coming from a different place. Good question now. Follow up?
Men having different elevator pitches for the different people who you're talking to.
Yeah.
There are different types of individuals you
Right.
might be reaching, especially in my business.
Right.
Where I have different lines of insurance.
Right, right. I personally do not teach it that way. There is a school of thought that says maybe you should have 4 or 5 different elevator pitches because you have 4 or 5 different service offerings. I come from a place of trying to keep things a little bit more simple. I try to keep things simple, and what I do is I actually have the elevator pitch get at the macro level of the service, of the benefit, that you're providing. So for sake of discussion, let's think of it as ground level is I'm an investment person. Okay, that's ground level. Maybe 10,000 feet up is I do short term. Okay, short-term disability. And you have a few of these different things at 10,000 feet up. Short-term versus long-term versus this versus that. Okay, 20,000 feet up is I help individuals and families get the peace of mind they deserve. Okay, and then from there, people see the whole point for an elevator, in what I call a unique selling proposition, is that they ask you how you do that. See, we haven't had that conversation. They ask you how you do that. Then when they ask you how you do that, then depending on how you wanted to play it, you could say, well, that depends. For a family, that might mean doing some, that might making a long-term disability so that they're able to make sure if the key breadwinner goes down, they have something together. For somebody who's just starting a family, it might be life insurance. For somebody who's looking for their retirement, it might be this or that. So you can give examples in the response of the question.
So an effective elevator pitch is one where you want that follow-up question.
That's exactly right. And then your unique selling proposition, just to define our terms, your unique selling proposition is what do you do? It is the response to that. Everybody's with me with that. That's the I help busy entrepreneurs market their business in less than 90 days. All right? The elevator pitch portion of that is really, well, how do you do that? Well, a lot of times people are good at what they're good at, but not so great at letting others know. What I do is create a tight, easy to implement marketing plan that even the busiest of people can use right away. Right? So now I've gotten into that. Now, if I'm at BNI or I'm at the chamber, I'm at this meetup group, I can put that into 30 seconds, and I can just say, hi, my name is Brian Hilliard, and what I do is this, and just go right into the examples, and you can do that as well. Is that making sense?
Question. I'm kind of follow up on Lewis's question. When you're at a networking event,
right,
that is one thing.
Yes.
Because you're talking to other businesses and everybody kind of gets the general rules.
Right, right.
But in businesses where you're actually talking to the general public,
right, right.
I can see where there may be a need for a secondary level because you don't want to be pitching. Everybody hears the salesman pitch
right, okay,
in an elevator speech.
Right, right, right.
So I guess it's not necessarily a question, but my comment or my take on it.
It was Lori?
It's Lori.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I want to mention is I agree with your point.
Right, right.
So I'm fine with your point. What I do there though is I try to dress it down, for lack of a better term. I try to dress it down. I don't dress it down with what I say. See, this is my school of thought. I still come from a place where you have this value proposition, and that's terra firma. Now, how I slice it is differently. You know, I'm a sports guy. I'll make a football analogy if I can. One of the things, if you take a look at an NFL playbook, right? The NFL playbook, a lot of playbooks, 300, 400, 500 plays. These huge books of plays that you run. And one of the things that they said about one of the teams was actually the Denver Broncos way back a few years ago. They said, you know, the Broncos playbook is only like 50 or 100 pages long. And they're like, well, how can you do that? It's because they run all of the different plays. They only have 50 plays, but they run them out of 50 different formations. Okay, so one play might be we have 2 wide receivers on the left, 1 wide receiver on the right, 1 running back, run the play. Next play we might have no wide receivers, 3 running backs, run the same play. We just keep running different, it's the same play, just different looks. Okay, I take that school of thought when it comes to this. So what I do, my play is I'm helping you get more business. Now, during a 30 seconds or a 60 seconds, I'm running it like I just mentioned. During a casual event, I'm tweaking that down. If they say, well, what do you do? Oh, you know, I work with a lot of business owners, help them get a little more business. So I don't say, well, I help this, you know, I don't get into that because I'm with you.
Right.
If I'm at the holiday party next week with my folks, I'm not having that conversation. But I can stoke the fires with my original premise, and I think that's okay. All right.